Y'all, this Kelli versus Angela, it's gonna be a mess come next season. A flat out mess. And truth be told, I really don't even recall the biggest issue with Kelli and Angela. Now, one thing I do remember is Kelli saying, "What about that baby though?" Because Kelli, be true, okay? You did used to hop in when it came down to Brit Edie stuff back then. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't remember much of what Kelli did do to Angela. Y'all remind me as to why Angela has also been on Kelli's neck this season. All I recall is, what about that baby though? The other thing that I can think of is how Kelli has gone about supporting Shamia. And it was given, if you're going to support your friend, then I'm going to be on your head too. Because truth be told, I feel like that side of the couch, when it came to Real Housewives of Atlanta, they wanted people out the way, just like they checked Pinky. Like, you doing a whole lot, even though she wasn't aggressive or doing too much at all. They wanted her to slide to the side so we'll be able to pew pew at Shamia how we want to. Okay? And because Kelli was the one willing to stick by her homegirl's side, some of them didn't like that, i.e. Miss Angela. And that's why the girls are fighting now. But like up the video, honey. Let's get into it.
How we get up, just call back, right back. We can spend, then get it right back, man. She just gotta want all of that, so that's why I bought.
Whew. All right, y'all. So we're back, okay? And I want to get into a little bit of Kelli versus Angela. Now, going back to the reunion, right? You guys know at the reunion, there was a statement that was made about somebody named Gary. So Angela and Kelli kind of had their back and forth, going back and forth with each other. And Angela, I think they started talking about houses. First of all, be very clear. Kelli was talking to Portia. Portia and Kelli were having a back and forth about Portia's house in comparison to Kelli's house and what she had to pay, what she did have to pay, whatever it was, okay? They're talking. So then Angela decides to jump into Portia's conversation, talking about, well, whose name is on the deed? Whose name on the deed? Who name on the deed? Loud and wrong. Okay? Because at the time that the reunion was filmed, Portia's name was not on the deed. Okay? You just wanted to beef with Kelli, right? Kelli wasn't wrong in my personal. So now the reunion has shown itself up. Angela then decides to get down to social media. But before we get to the social media, remember, as they're going back and forth, Angela says, well, who is Gary? You needed Gary. You got a loan from Gary, or somebody, you ain't paid Gary bills, or whatever it was about Gary. She brought that up. Now, we'll get to the Gary, okay? But I want to get over here on Angela's Instagram, I'm sorry, her Twitter page, and this is what she came to the people with, right? So Angela says, it's all so simple. Kelli has jumped on the other side of almost every issue involving me. I never understood it. Now, I don't think she jumped on every issue, girl. She be calling for you to be fair and you not. However, what I am going to give you is that first season when she said what she said about that baby, though, because that was uncalled for, I will agree. She says, after enough unprovoked shots, I matched the energy. Girl, you was matching the energy before then. And this is what makes it give flop for me, Angela, and Stans. It's the fact that you over here overly harping on Kelli, but you also don't have that same energy for Portia. When the energy shows itself, it's in the confessional. Make that make sense. So then she says, anyone on my couch, I support it. She seemed to enjoy doing it to me. Anyone on my couch, I support it. Well, if it's okay for you to support the people on your couch, then it must be okay for her to support the people on her couch, right? She says, I returned the favor. No, you jumped into something that didn't have to do with you when they were having a conversation. But your people, your 3,000 folks liking the post and hyping you up are going to make you believe that everything you did was right. And it wasn't. And y'all over here talking about what's good for the goose must be good for the, it must be. If Kelli did it back to you, it must be. Right? So now we're over here on the girls are fighting over here on the Twitter. The girls are fighting. So they're putting this out. They're saying Real Housewives of Atlanta Kelli Potter loses breach of contract lawsuit to Gary. Okay. Now I don't know if that breach of contract has something to do with her business, or not, or who Gary is. I don't know if Gary was the owner of the business that she, her a restaurant that shut down. Not sure, but we're gonna get into it. So they're saying, so about that, Gary, Angela Oakley brought up at the reunion. Angela clocked that tea. According to Fulton County records, Gary is Gary L. Tolliver, and he is not some random name Angela pulled out during the reunion. Tolliver sued Kelli Potter Farrell over money he says he loaned her for her restaurant business. And now Kelli has lost the lawsuit. Okay, they're saying the court's corrected final verdict and judgment is dated August 10th, 2026. According to the judgment, the case was on the court's bench trial calendar for August 7th. The document specifically says only Tolliver appeared. He testified about the contract and the amount he said was still owed. Okay, so if he was the only one that showed up to trial and she did not, then they about gave him an automatic judgment. They said Kelli did not appear for the bench trial. The court then ruled in Tolliver's favor on the contract claim, as expected. So they're saying Kelli was ordered to pay $63,000. So Kelli, where the hell was you at that you didn't know this was going down? Is this uncommon? No, it's not. However, where was you at? Did you have an attorney to take care of this part of the deal? So Kelli says 63. They're saying that Kelli owes 63,000 in principal, 20,000 in prejudgment interest, plus court costs and post judgment interest. That puts the judgment at $83,000 before court costs and post judgment interest. Okay, so who exactly is Gary? The court filings say Tolliver was an investor who loaned Kelli money for the opening and operation of Nana's Chicken and Waffles in Sandy Springs, and I was wondering if this was connected to that, and I was wondering correctly. All right. In his amended complaint, Tolliver said he loaned Kelli $35,000 on or about July 14th, 2024, followed by another $40,000 on or about October 15th, 2024. He claimed the money was supposed to be used to open and operate the restaurant, and that Kelli agreed to repay a total of $100,000, including interest, by November 2024. Tolliver said Kelli eventually repaid $36,915, leaving a $63,000 unpaid balance. There is also a loan agreement in the court filings dated for July 9, 2024, identifying Kelli Farrell as the borrower and Gary Tolliver as the lender. The agreement lists a $75,000 loan amount and an additional $25,000 in interest. Tolliver's lawsuit included claims for breach of contract, fraud, unjust enrichment, and damages. But there is an important distinction. The August 10th judgment says the court found in Tolliver's favor on the contract claim, while Tolliver's non-contractual claims were dismissed. All right. So this is what's being put out there as it is quoted from the judgment from the Fulton County records, okay, as reported by the girls are fighting. Okay, Baddie TV down to the Twitter. However, I don't know if this could have been something that kissed Kelli off and she got wind of it to where she decided I'm gonna be on this, because I know in order for you to get that information, she must have gave that information. I don't know. What I do know is that Kelli not too long ago just came down to the Twitter and she done wore Angela out just a piece. So the girls will be carrying this into filming. They're probably gonna start filming in like a month or so. Woo, this might be one fiery season coming up. So let's get back into what Miss Kelli had to say. All right. Kelli says, Angela Dion Reed. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Not you to put this lady first, middle, and last name on display, Miss Kelli. All right, let's go, Dion. This is the $2 million house we're speaking of. Okay, she says, baby, this is your marital home, not an investment property, as you tried to tell the people down to the reunion. That was in foreclosure and up for auction. Am I correct? Because that's what it looks like. 2.1 million. She says, see, I have been very open and honest about my entire life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to agree with Kelli on this because she has. She has. I feel like she has. And this is how you know in my personal that she's been open is because the things she's been opened about has been able to be used as a read against her. Okay? I feel like she's been very open about whatever finances, whatever she was dealing with, having to shut down this restaurant, whatever it was. I feel like she has been open. Okay. She says, I never pretended my life was perfect and I've never needed it to be. So before we discuss finances, which is weird with your lifetime ban from FINRA and all, my home or my real life struggles, make sure we're bringing everything to the forefront. So since you want to talk about somebody and what they got going on and who they owe and what they owe, was your house not up for foreclosure and ready to go into an auction? Child, listen, that's crazy. That's messy. That's messy. That's real messy. So now I've been seeing comments online. People been upset, not liking the fact that as it's made its way to Instagram, that Kelli will put this information out there. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Why is it okay for Angela to bring it to the forefront? And then now you got a blogger or more posting about the lady's stuff. Why is it okay for them to do it and not and not Kelli? Because according to y'all best friend and y'all fave, Angela, one of her followers says, if it's good for the goose and it's for the who? She said the motherfucking gander. So why is it when somebody else do it, it's not cool, that's not fair, that's not right. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm gonna make it in here. Come on, Whitney. Anyway, understand, okay? If it's good for that goose, must be good for the other ones too. But that's all I got, honey. Y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below, honey. I'm Jamie, that's me. Like up the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.